What's up guys, welcome back to another community questions video. Today what we're going to do though is talk about something that I think should be incredibly interesting, so stick around, and especially for you people getting into PvM and stuff, or maybe you're struggling a little bit at lower end PvM or getting into higher end PvM, this could be a good one for you. So we're going to be talking about what are some common PvM misconceptions. So I gave an example of this saying, thinking that you have to get best in slot gear before you even start PvM. So of course there's going to be things like this in this video, and what I did is I put the question out to my community on YouTube, and you guys commented down below your biggest PvM misconceptions, or the ones that you think are the biggest ones, and today we're going to go through those and talk about them a little bit and just expand on them as we normally do with videos like this. If you enjoy this sort of content, do leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. We do this sort of thing quite a bit, and if you have any questions that you would like me to ask to the community, let me know. If you enjoy the music in this video, there's a link in the description to my music channel that has all that music on there, and it's also free to use for creators as well. Anyway, let's jump into this video and let's see what are the biggest or the most common PvM misconceptions in RuneScape 3. The background footage is likely just going to be me doing some PvM. You don't have to really pay attention to it too much. You could probably minimize the video if you would like, but otherwise, let's jump into this. The first comment that we have is going to be from Boss Tweed, and you say, one misconception is that better gear is the solution to better DPS. Understanding each ability and optimizing your rotation will give you so much more damage than going from tier 90 to tier 92 weapons. This is absolutely true, and even though I hate the word rotation, I'll explain that in just a minute, he's still absolutely right, and rotation kind of is like the only word you can use, I guess. But what I would say is ability prioritization instead of rotation, because you're not going to be doing the same thing every single time at every single place. But that being said, yes, this is absolutely spot on, and this is one of the ones that kind of get thrown around probably more than anything else. People think that they have to get better gear to improve kill times at bosses, or to even be able to do some bosses, or just to get more DPS out of anything. So if you go to a boss and you struggle with DPS and you're quite a way behind, your initial reaction, or a lot of people's initial reactions, maybe not you personally, is to just think, right, well, I need to upgrade my gear. And you've already got tier 90s. You think, oh, well, I need tier 95s now. They've come out to the game. I need those to be able to kill this boss. But the thing is, you actually get more out of learning and understanding how specific abilities work together than if you just paid that money and upgraded. Because the thing is, you're going to get those weapons and you're still, or that armor or gear or anything that you want to invest in, and you're still going to have the same struggles. You're still going to probably go to the same boss and probably still struggle, because there's a lot more to PvM than just getting gear and killing bosses. RuneScape is very, very in-depth with PvM, and it's why it's so fun and so enjoyable to do, is because there's so many different things to actually learn and take on board. It's not just buy the best gear, attack a boss until it's dead. A lot of other MMOs do have this, and that's probably where it comes from. Games like Arcade, games like, I believe, Black Desert Online, these sort of things, they all have the same sort of thing. You upgrade your gear and then you just hit the boss until it's dead. You don't really need to understand what your abilities do. You can like improve by knowing what they do, but you never really needed to. You just get the better gear and you just hit the thing. Now, that's not how RuneScape works. You have to understand mechanics, you have to understand timings, you have to understand how your abilities tie together with each other, you have to understand an ability prioritization, or an ability rotation, I suppose. And all these things are going to add together to make your experience a hell of a lot easier, and to make you have more DPS and to get better kills. Gear does help, it absolutely does, but it's not the key to anything. If you get a top tier PvMer, give them no gear and maybe just one weapon like I don't know, a staff or something, they will probably be able to kill most bosses in the game without maybe any food even. The gear helps, it doesn't make the player. An example of this would be Evil Lucario. Everyone knows you can't really compare him to other players, but the point is, he still does it. He's got loads of videos on YouTube, and you can check them out, where he does things like Telos with no gear except a wand and a defender and no food, and he still manages to do kills faster than I can do in like lower end rages. So try not to get overly caught up on gear. Next up, we have a comment from Avian Prime, and he says, experts just die less. Everybody dies doing bosses, no matter if you've done the same boss 1,000 times. You can still die to that boss, you can wait for a safe death event, but death cost itself should not stop you from trying new bosses. This is absolutely true, and I actually get this so much. People always comment and say, I'm waiting for the next free death event so I can learn this boss. Just go do it. In fact, use practice mode. Like, if it doesn't matter, just go. I know you're going to waste your supplies a little bit in practice mode. It's not the most ideal thing. Ideally, practice mode would load a preset from your bank and not give you any like costs or anything, but it is what it is. But you should absolutely go and try new bosses, even if like it's going to cost you a little bit. Use your Ring of Death, it's absolutely fine, but don't try anything too far ahead. So for example, if you've just learned Vindicta, don't go and throw yourself at Raksha for 2 weeks. Like, that's not going to happen. You need to practice other things first. Go from Vindicta to like the Arc Glacial maybe, and then once you've got the Arc Glacial down, go to Araxi, go to next and solos or duos or whatever. Move your way up the ladder. Don't just jump to the next. Like, don't try Telos, before you can do Vindicta, okay? But at the same time, yes, everybody still dies. I still die. I die all the time. I'm always in Death's Office. This is the meme at this point. I pay Death's Office rent by myself, but I can still do every boss in the game, and I still like to say that I'm pretty, like, I'm okay at PvM. I'm not like top tier PvMer, but I'm okay. I do well enough for me. So you guys can absolutely do the same as well. Just keep in mind that yes, everybody does die. And while you might not see YouTubers dying that much, you need to remember the power of editing is great. So, you know, a video of me just being in Death's Office the whole time might sound good for one episode of a video, but if I do it every single time, it gets old, it's repetitive, and so I do cut out quite a lot of deaths. Same goes for other YouTubers as well, and while we leave the funny ones in there for you to have a chuckle at, there usually is quite a bit more that you don't see. That being said as well, the people who say that they never die at bosses, well, that's just not true. So don't let that put you off. Get out there, try some new bosses, and work on stuff. And yes, you are going to die. Even when you've done the boss 1,000 times, you are still going to die there every now and again. Our next comment comes from Just Wolf, and you say, all of the switches. Yes, switches do help kill times, but you definitely don't need them all if all you want to do is kill bosses. Even the top end game bosses don't require switches. Maybe a shield switch, but that's it. Switches just make it faster to get kills so you can get more gold per hour. This is true. This is very true. So I am convinced that you could do any boss in this game without more than just a shield switch. Your main hand weapons, a shield switch, and if you absolutely necessarily need something for a mechanic, which I don't think there's anything other than a shield that you would need to deal with the mechanic, then I don't think you could really, you don't need it. Yes, your kill times are going to be slower, of course they are. Having things like your planted feet switch are insanely good, but you can put that on your main hand weapon as well, by the way. Planted feet is by far the best perk you can get. You want to make sure you get this. So you can dump that on your main hand weapon if you don't want to use switches, but things like flanking, I don't even touch them. I've got the flanking perk in my bank. I've not even put it on a weapon yet. There's no way. I just can't be bothered. It's too much effort, and it is what it is. But I know that I could improve my kill times in a lot of places if I use this sort of stuff. That's what it's there for. Things like a roaming switch. Yes, it is going to help out so much because a roaming switch makes your greater ricochet or your greater chain do way more damage, way more convenient, and it is just incredibly good. But you could still kill the same things just a little bit slower without them. In fact, I could make a video probably actually doing like maybe the top 5 bosses or something without switches. Maybe I'll do that. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in hearing this. But yes, you don't need to take switches to PvM. People always think like, I can't do Carapad because I don't have my roaming switch and I don't have my flanking switch and I don't have, like, just stop. Just stop. Yes, you can. You can still do it. Your kills are going to be slower. Yes, they are. And in some situations, a switch will help out a little bit and it will make life a little bit easier, but it's also going to cost you the effort and the concentration to switch between those weapons as well. You don't have to juggle 12 switches in your backpack. You don't have to be tri-bridding, which is the new thing now. People are tri-bridding bosses just to get like 5 seconds faster kill times, but they're competing. These are the people that are competing for like the best kill times in the world. You don't need that, okay? People were killing bosses before switches happened. You can still kill bosses before switches happened, and switches are there to help you increase your kill time if you want to, but they are not needed. They're not needed. Don't worry about it. If you don't want to do Switchscape, just get your basics and then go from there. But just understand that you will be accepting the fact that your kill times will be less, so you have to be okay with that. And next comment is from a name I cannot pronounce. I can say Samurai. That'll do. We'll go with that. The biggest one for me is I see all the time within my clan, or the game in general, that you need to be full manual to acquire good kill times, or even be able to PvM in general. This is simply flat out wrong. Sure, your kills may not be the fastest in the world due to Revolution's poor ability prioritization system, but if you're getting kills, you're doing everything perfectly fine. Don't be afraid to PvM as a Revolution player. There's not really much more to add to this. It's full, it explains it pretty damn well, and I completely agree. I see this quite a bit. People message me and say, when I get those videos where people send like in clips and stuff, and I look at them and go over, I get quite a few of those that I can't upload and stuff because there's really not that much to add to it. But like, there's a lot of people who will say something like, I can't do this because I'm not on full manual yet, and I need to move to full manual. Or I'll get it in streams as well. Someone will say, I'm struggling to PvM because I'm not full manual. You don't have to be full manual. There's plenty of players who still play on Revolution. As long as you're not using Revo++ to try and do high-end PvM, it's perfectly possible to just let your basics be done automatically by Revolution. Yes, you're going to get slower kill times, you are, but slower kill times doesn't mean bad kill times. You can still get decent kill times on Revolution so long as you are still inputting your thresholds and your ultimates in the right way. There's more to it than just pressing your basics in the right order as well. It helps, it definitely does help, and you can can do timings a bit easier when Revolution isn't kind of screwing you over in some situations. So full manual is good, and it is helpful, and it will be the best way for you to get like the best kill times and the most optimal things. Like, of course it is. But Revolution is fine. You don't have to think that you have to move to like full manual, and it's just something that you can do. You can do Revolution at most bosses. In fact, you can kill most bosses in this game on Legacy. There's some bosses that you can't, but it has been done where you can kill most bosses in Legacy, meaning that Revolution shouldn't have an issue with killing most bosses in this game. There's going to be some situations where Revolution will screw you over out of a resonance timing, something like that. Again, you can get over this as well by using things like Seize before you actually get to that point. So if you need to use Hold Still, if you're dealing with the Hold Still at Telos and you need to use Resonance, you could press the Seize ability first, and then just before he does it, you can use Resonance. That'll stop from Revolution doing the actual automatic thing, and you'll be absolutely fine. So there's ways around it, but Revolution is absolutely fine for PvM until endgame as well. It's just not going to be the most optimal thing. But again, if you're using Revolution and that's what you want to do and you don't want to learn full manual, then you shouldn't really be overly fussed about the most optimal, fastest kill times in the game either. There's a huge thing about comparing kill times and competing with other people about how your kill times are compared to theirs. Just understand the fact that they are probably using all the switches, they are probably fighting for the best kill times, and that's absolutely fine. You don't have to do that. You're not bad if you're getting slower kills. You're not. If you get the kill, you get the kill. If you prefer Revolution, you can use Revolution, and I'll do another video on this as well at some point as well, where I do Revolution and I'll use not many switches. We'll do it in the same video probably, and I'll do that in the future at some point if you guys want. Let me know if you guys want that. So I'm going to leave you guys with the one that I hear the most and the one that bugs me the most, and it's the one that I gave an example. You need 6 bill, 7 bill, 8 bill, 12 bill to PvM in this game. You can't PvM without best of slot gear. You have to have 10 bill gear. It's not really worth it. It's too stressful. Inflation's too high, blah, 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 blah. No, you don't. You absolutely don't. And I'm currently working on a video where I kind of prove the point of it, and yes, it's kind of like iffy because I have a lot of PvM experience, but that's kind of the point. Having a lot of PvM experience is going to give you more than having best of slot gear. I'm currently working on a video where I do Raksha with rune crossbows, and I'm going to do that, and I will show you guys that it's possible. In the past, I did it with glaives and royal dragonhide, I believe, and that wasn't too bad. The kill times were slower, of course they were, but having experience will give you more out of it than actually having best of slot gear. I wouldn't recommend doing these bosses in that gear, of course. To use the best gear you can get your hands on. But to start PvM, it's not just like PvM is not just Telos, it's not just Raksha, it is not just, I don't know, Zook in hard mode. It is Vindicta, it is Hellweir, it is God Wars Dungeon 1, it is Araxi, it is Nex. You can go to all these bosses with way less gear than the best in slot, and you absolutely do not need 10, 8, 6, anything anywhere near this amount of money in billions of gear. Go back a while and realize that we used to do Nex in solos in void gear. This is void gear I'm talking about, not anything with good armor. We used to use this in void using things like a royal crossbow. We used to do Nex in solos with a royal crossbow and void gear. If you could do that then, you can do it now with Serenic gear, which, hold on, I know it's tier 90. Look at the price of Serenic gear. It is ridiculously cheap. It's cheaper than Pernix. So you can buy yourself some Serenic gear, which is about 30 mil, I think. Not even that, 20 mil maybe. And then you can go ahead, buy yourself some Shadow Glaives, which is what, like maybe 30 mil in total. So add that up together, 60 mil gear, possibly. You can definitely kill Nex in that. You absolutely can. You can do it in less, but that's an ideal setup. You can do Nex with Shadow Glaives and Serenic, and then obviously your accessories and stuff, and you wouldn't struggle that much. Hell, it may even be better to use a royal crossbow, then you can use the back criminal bolts. Whatever is your fancy. I like the accuracy better than the royal crossbow and the bolts, but it is what it is. So don't get caught up in the fact that you need to get billions before you start PvM. Get an average PvM set, start at the low level bosses, kill those bosses to upgrade your gear, and just keep in mind that if you only have 50 mil of gear and you get a drop at Vindicta, one of the Lancers or the Crest, that's 50 mil added to your bank. You've just doubled your bank. That's insane. You don't have to be getting these 500 mil, 1 billion GP drops. You know, you can't get those without the high level gear, of course not, and a lot more practice in PvM. But if you only have a 50 bill gear set, then you shouldn't be expecting to get 500 mil drops just like that anyway. You should be working on these low level bosses, do what everyone else did, kill those first, upgrade your gear, work along getting everything else upgraded, work on increasing your PvM skills, and go from there. Anyway, guys, that brings us to the end of this video. Hopefully, it gives you some motivation if you're someone who is maybe getting into PvM, or hopefully just clears up a few things and makes you feel a little bit more at ease if you're one of these people that are stressing about some of the stuff. Enjoy the game for what it is. Realize that it's not just all about like having the best gear in the game to where you get started. You got to start somewhere, and part of this game isn't just you don't want to just have everything straight away. You don't want to just have better slot gear and be able to kill every single boss. That's when the game gets a little bit boring and repetitive, and you've got to think really outside the box on how to keep going. It's when the adventure towards that bit is what's the fun bit, at least for most people, and that's the game, right? You want to upgrade your gear, you want to get that achievement when you finally get a drop, and you want to get that dopamine hit when you get something that matters quite a lot to your bank. So keep that in mind. Everyone had that adventure to do, that journey, and that's why the top end PvMers are where they are, and you should be glad that you've got that adventure ahead of you as well. But yeah, don't let these misconceptions put you off from doing PvM, and just keep them in mind that they are thrown around a lot, but there's not necessarily truth to every single one of them. In some situations, they aren't wrong, but at the same time, don't let it ruin your experience. Don't let it put you off. Anyway, if you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. Like I say, if you enjoy the music, so I'm going to push that a little bit because it's my own music channel. Head over to that and subscribe to that channel too. Leave some views and some likes or whatever. Channel members, thank you for your extra support. I very much do appreciate it. Your names are on screen right now, of course. Anyone else, if you'd like to support the channel and get some perks as well, like early access to videos and whatnot, and some like Discord roles and such, then do click the join button by the sub button and you can see what perks you get from doing that. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.